This is an instructional video on finding the volume of a sphere. To find the volume of a sphere, we're going to use the formula V equals 4 pi r to the third power divided by 3. Just like the last several types of volume problems with cylinders and cones, r stands for the radius, and that is the half part of the circle. Occasionally in a problem, you'll be given the letter D. D stands for the diameter. The diameter is the entire line of the circle. It's important to note that there is no h, no height, in a sphere. Just like with cones and cylinders, there are 3 types of pi. You can use 3.14 for pi, you can use the fraction 22/7, or you can use the pi button on the calculator. With all the other problems, we are going to round to the 10th place. That's 1 decimal place. So for this problem, we're going to start with our formula, V equals 4 pi r to the third power divided by 3. And we're going to plug in our radius 3. So 4 pi 3 to the third power divided by 3. 3 to the third power, we solve that part first, which is going to give us 27. We bring down the 4, bring down pi, bring down dividing by 3. Now we are going to jump over pi and we're going to multiply by 4. 4 times 27 is going to give us 108. Our next step is to divide by 3. We always save that pi value for last. So 108 divided by 3 is going to give us 36. The directions tell us to use 3.14 for pi. So I'm going to do 36 times that 3.14 value, which is going to give us 113.04. And we want to round up or down to the 10th place. So we look at that second decimal. 5 and higher, we round up. 4 and less, we round down. 4 and less. And so that decimal 0.0 is going to stay a 0.0 because we round down. For this problem, the sphere gives us the diameter, which is this line going all the way across. We don't want the diameter, we want the radius. Radius is half of the line. So instead of 12, we're going to use 6. We're going to use half. And we're going to use that radius in our formula, V equals pi r cubed divided by 3. We start by plugging in the radius 6. We solve the 6 to the third power first. 6 to the third power is going to give us 216. Next, we're going to jump over pi and we're going to multiply by 4. 216 times 4 is going to give us 864. Saving pi for last, we go ahead and divide. 864 divided by pi is 288. The directions say to leave the answer in terms of pi, meaning we do not multiply by pi. We leave the pi symbol in our final answer, 288 pi. For this problem, we're given the radius, the half part of the line, and so we use that number to plug it into our volume formula, V equals pi r cubed divided by 3. We plug the 5 radius in to the r position, and we solve that section first. 5 to the third power is 125. Our next step is to jump over pi and multiply by 4. 125 times 4 is going to give us 500. Saving pi for last, we can go ahead and divide. 500 divided by 3 is 166.6 repeating. Remember that line on top means that it's a repeating decimal. The directions say to use 22/7 for pi, so we're going to do 166.6 repeating times 22/7, which is going to give us 523.80. We only write 2 decimal places. There are a lot more. We only write 2 because we need to round to the 10th place. 5 and higher, we round up. 4 and less, we round down. The second decimal is a 0, so it's 4 and less, so we round down. The 0.8 stays 0.8, 523.8. For this problem, we are given the diameter. We do not want the diameter, we want the radius. The radius is the half part of the line. So instead of the full 13, we're going to do half of that. Half of 13 is 6.5. Don't be scared of the decimal. We are going to take that radius and plug it into our formula, v equals 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. We plug the radius, 6.5, into the r position in the formula, and we solve that part first. 6.5 to the third power is going to give us 274.625. We're going to jump over pi and multiply by 4. 274.625 times 4 is 1098.5. Saving pi for last, we go ahead and divide by 3 and get 366.16 repeating pi. The directions tell us to leave our answer in terms of pi, meaning pi symbol is in the final answer. 366.16 repeating pi. For this problem, we're given the radius of 12, and so we're going to use that radius in our volume formula, v equals 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. Plugging the radius 12 into the r position in the equation. 12 to the third power is going to give us 1,728. Jumping over pi, we're going to multiply by 4. 1,728 times 4 is 6,912. Saving pi for last, we go ahead and divide by 3. 6,912 divided by 3 is 2,304. The directions tell us to use 3.14 for pi. So we're going to take our number, 2,304, and we're going to multiply it by that pi value, 3.14. And we get 7,234.56. We round it to the first decimal place. Looking at the second decimal place, it's a 6. So 5 and higher rounds up, 4 and less rounds down. 6 is 5 and higher, so we're going to round up. That 0.5 is going to round up into a 0.6. For this problem, we have a radius of 9.3, which is what we are going to plug into our formula, v equals 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. We plug the 9.3 radius into the r position in the equation. 9.3 to the third power is going to give us 804.357. Jumping over pi, we go ahead and multiply by 4, and we get 3,217.428. Saving pi for last, we can go ahead and divide by 3. Getting 1,072.476. There are no directions that tell us to leave the answer in terms of pi, to use 3.14 or 22/7. And so we are going to multiply our answer by the pi button on the calculator. And when we do that, we get a big long decimal of 3,369 . We only write 2 decimal places. 0.28. We write 2 decimal places because we want to round to the nearest tenth, which is 1 decimal place. Looking at the second decimal place, we decide if we're going to round up or down. 5 and higher, we round up. 4 and less, we round down. 8 is 5 and higher, so we are going to round up, meaning that 0.2 is going to round up to a 0.3. A sphere has a volume of 288 pi cubic inches. Find the radius of the sphere. So we're going to use our sphere formula, V equals 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. But this time it gives us the answer of 288 pi. So we have to work backwards. So instead of dividing by 3, we do the opposite. We multiply by 3. When we work backwards, we do the opposite operation. 288 times 3 is 864. Our next step, instead of multiplying by 4, we're going to divide by 4. So 864 divided by 4 is going to give us 216. The pi's themselves, since there's 1 on each side, that can cancel out. And so we have 216 equals r to the 3rd power. Now to do the opposite of the exponent 3, we need to do the cubed root symbol. And the cubed root of 216 is going to give us 6. The radius of this sphere is 6. A sphere has a volume of 972 pi inches cubed. Find the radius of the sphere. So again, we are going to use our sphere formula, V equals 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. Plugging in our answer, 972 pi, into the volume part of the problem. We work backwards, doing the opposite of our formula in order to find the radius. So instead of dividing by 3, we start by multiplying by 3. 972 times 3 is 2,916. Our next step, instead of multiplying by 4, we do the opposite. We divide by 4. 2,916 divided by 4 is 729. Since there's a pi on both sides, those can cancel out. And we get 729 equals r to the 3rd power. To get our final answer, we have to do the square root of 729, which is going to give us a radius of 9.